Hello, lovely people. Hopefully, you are doing well. I'm really excited to be here with you today and address the live chat and talk about whatever we decide to talk about. So, hello to the live chat. David D says a god and a goddess want man and women to make a family together, but Satan has turned women and men against each other. It keeps on getting worse and worse, especially for men who typically lose house and kids and have to make ongoing payments. Yeah, definitely. The system is set up to turn both sexes against each other. And especially when there are families and children involved, getting very messy divorces and unpleasant, just so much negative energy and hurt feelings and all of that. Reminds me of the Holy Megillah and how it talks about the blessed parting and how divorce amongst the Nazarenes was not seen as this negative thing. It was seen as a new beginning to a new part of your life. And everything was handled in an amicable way. They would go through a process of explaining their positive things that they got from the relationship and then go about distributing their resources between each other fairly and always making sure that the children were prioritized and taken care of in that situation. So it's really beautiful to see that kind of stark contrast in the way that things are and the way that they could be. And I'm excited for all of that. Even just the idea of marriage in the Holy Megillah was not necessarily like a for life thing. Some people will have multiple marriages and learn a lot of different lessons throughout the lifespan. You're constantly growing, hopefully, and new seasons of time bring about new people in your lives. And some people do choose to grow together until the end, and that's their lesson, trying to work out all of the differences and continue the whole life journey together. But others choose not to do that path, and they would learn through multiple different relationships and growing over time in that manner. And I think that's a really nice way to view it, instead of so much pressure and the government getting involved completely. Does not need to be, it shouldn't be a business contract, first of all, right? But there's a lot of pressure and stigma and just a lot around what we consider marriage. And ultimately, that marriage vow is between you and your partner and God and Goddess, right? The divine. And it's not, doesn't need to be ran by Uncle Sam or anybody else, really. And so I think there's a lot of better ways that we can view a lot of different things. So, hey, Mickey, how's it going? Hello, everyone. I'm finally available during a live. Yay. Woohoo. Welcome. David says that feminism has been the worst for family. It makes women hate men. Yeah, and also the before the feminist movement, obviously the powers that be, ultimately the pain parasites, these farmers, geared or engineered a situation where women were being, seen as less than and put down. And there's a lot of feelings and emotions that are still in the female population because of that stuff. And I understand that the past has happened. Every group has been put down, and we need to accept what has happened in the past and understand that all of these things have been purposefully orchestrated by higher, I don't want to call them higher beings because they're not, by beings that are in different dimensions, or these pain parasite farmers that are manipulating the situation to turn us all against each other. And they have a long-term agenda. So it's like oppress this group here, and then in later down the road, they're gonna have their comeback and it'll swing the pendulum the other way and cause all sorts of problems. And that pendulum swing is kind of happening with a lot of different things. Parenting kind of comes to mind, where it's like this very disciplinarian parenting style that most of us grew up with, and the loosey-goosey stuff that's going on these days, where kids are being allowed to make very serious decisions that they should not even be thinking about or confused about, parents are allowing the children to raise themselves. So there's been a lot of pendulum swinging. But back to the feminist thing, I definitely agree that it has been used to really destroy the family and to make both sexes hate each other, because ultimately the men are going to be like, oh, you got, like, you're repulsed by the females, and it just feeds off of each other, right? So it is all part of the plan, and it's really important that we keep ourselves kind of centered and aware of what's going on around us as the world goes its way. We need to make sure that we kind of don't allow ourselves to be programmed and pulled in that direction as well. It's, videos come across your feed that are going to be feeding into this hatred of the opposite sex, that, and the algorithms are going to show you what they think is going to get to you best, and if you keep watching them, they're going to keep coming on there as well. So just remember that it's all by design, and even further, that we have the opportunity to be the light in the darkness for the opposite sex, that we get to become the best versions of ourselves possible and show that not everyone in our sex is going this or that way or doing that thing. We get to be that candle in the darkness. So I appreciate everybody who is becoming the best version of themselves possible and really trying to, not just for the opposite sex, but to show the world that it is possible to live a different way. And yeah, that's really beautiful and something worth living for. Hey Josh, how's it going? Josh says, hello, Anana. I follow bombed you on all the socials earlier. Oh, cool. I'm glad that you are here. Hello, Matrick. How's it going? Is that how you say your name? Matrick. Hi, Anana. Great job on Strange World. Thank you. I definitely had a lot of fun. And I was just thinking about this before I came on here, like just being on the backstage screen and all that stuff. It was really fun. And I'm looking forward to doing it again and doing other interviews on my channel and on other people's as well. I know that I have a few people that have reached out to me for some collaborative efforts, and I would like to get the ball rolling with that as well. There's a lot of stuff in my everyday life. I am trying to start my own church. I run the Shasta Vegan Community, which I'm trying to make a nonprofit, and the space that I'm in here, I'm trying to help get it under control as well. So there's a lot of things going on, but I do have a lot of plans, and I'm excited to see where it takes us. David D says, unhappy men tend to try and stick it out due to duty, but increasingly women are walking away when unhappy. Over 70% of divorces are being filed by women. Most no fault. Interesting. Yeah, the relationship thing is getting harder and harder for so many people. And then once we have all this programming that literally makes us the worst versions of ourselves possible, and then trying to have a relationship when, usually the husband's going one way, the wife's going one way, the kids are going one way, you barely ever see each other. You have all of these other interactions with other people, which can lead to relationships out there as well. And just a lot of different ways that the relationship in general has been under attack. So it's really interesting though about the, men intending to stick it out and women walking away. I wonder what kind of fuels this of, reasoning. It'd be interesting to dig deeper into some of those statistics and psychological side. 100%. It's all set up by design. We need to love each other, not get divided. Exactly. Mickey says, love and not get divided. Also having that understanding of the opposite sex, just like us, are under their own programming, and trying to have a little bit of compassion and sympathy for that as well, and understanding, so that we don't all end up hating the opposite sex because of the way that they've been programmed, not the way they actually fundamentally are when they're in a situation that is uplifting and positive and good for their soul. Hi. Yes, great on Strange World. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hello, MCon. How's it going? Hi, sweetie. How are you doing? How's your day? Mr. Khan from Pakistan. Ooh, did you mean to rhyme that? I don't know if you did, but Very cool. I am doing great, and I'm really excited to be here with you. A lot of my other streams are, well, I'm kind of moving more into preaching, and wanting this 3:30 on Wednesdays to kind of be back and forth and getting to talk about just different truther topics and whatever naturally comes up. So, for those of you who don't know, I was on Strange World with Mark Sargent and DJ Curious last night. It was really fun, and you can see that stream on my channel or Mark's as well. And yeah, it was really cool to get to talk to Mark Sargent. I have never actually spoken to Mark before, and Mark technically woke me up to flat earth. So it is really cool to just kind of make that connection and yeah, just hang out and talk to my fellow flat earthers. So hopefully other people that watched got a little bit of inspiration to check out the Holy Megillah. That is what I'm really passionate about. But I'm into all the other truther topics too. So David D says that women are being programmed to walk away. He's not perfect, walk away. You hit a bump in the road, walk away. Everything tells them to leave, not to stick it out and get through the rough times. Interesting. Yeah, I'm pretty closed off personally. Like, I do have a few friends, but I'm not really close to a lot of people for multiple reasons. But yeah, so I really don't have exposure to a lot of females that I could, talk this kind of stuff with. But that's an interesting observation as well. And, it definitely is easy a lot to walk away from things. And in a relationship, you have to be able to put in the work, be willing to, or else you should walk away realistically. But yeah, relationships are really hard. David D says the females in the chat complained that Mark was flirting with you. Oh, that's funny. Oh, I did not see that, but yeah, I couldn't see all the chat, but it was kind of interesting to see every now and then, especially people kind of disagreeing. And one comment said that I didn't like the God of the Bible, so I went God shopping, which is definitely not what happened at all. I was actually studying Passover as a Torah follower because the Bible says that it's a ritual that you should be doing forever and ever, which means that we should be still doing that, right? So I was doing a deep dive into Passover and trying to learn more about it and learn more about this whole, let's go get a sheep and bring it, and a lamb, whatever, bring it into our home and be with it for like 2 weeks and then slaughter it. And yeah, I was not vegan at the time. And so through that studying, God led me to the Gospel of the Holy 12, which is my book right here. And you can actually find this online as well. But this is what changed my life and got me to go vegan. His original teachings. And actually, there's a great documentary called Christspiracy, which you can view online as well. And it goes into this massive church cover up regarding essentially Christ coming to stand against the animal sacrifices. And he said, "You've made my father's house into a den of murderers." They changed it into thieves. But it was this compassion for animals and trying to restore what God essentially wanted in the first place, which was always obedience and compassion, from willingness to serve him and be obedient in that, and sacrificing of ourselves, sacrificing of our own desires and wants, the life that that the world might want for us, that are, sacrificing those things, not animal sacrifice. So restoring that and trying to end the animal sacrifice is what this good book teaches about. And so for many years, I was very much all about this book. I still really love it. But I more recently, through being in this place, there is talk about nanobots and other advanced technologies. And basically, the Megillah came into my awareness through this. There's talks about the AI takeover, essentially, and the once humans connect their brain to the AI, that is the sixth trumpet. And the time of the sixth trumpet takes quite a while. And humans kind of, it mentions that we kind of fumble in the dark, not knowing where the path actually leads. But the powers that be, these dark powers, know exactly where it is going to lead. And their plan, according to the Megillah, is that they are essentially going to rig the White House to explode when the Islamic nations come and bomb the White House. It just gets completely exploded, and then the eagle rages war against them, and it just causes this vacancy in the government to where the shadow government can come up and really reveal themselves. So hopefully people will heed the warnings and see this AI Neuralink stuff for what it is. Unfortunately, if you read the prophecies in the Megillah, it kind of, these signs and wonders, these miraculous things, and people go along with it willingly, and then eventually all of the workplace and government get hooked up to the master brain, and now all of a sudden your workspace is linked to it, and you have to get linked to it as well if you want to continue working there. And further down the line, now that you don't have a job and you're probably living in the wilderness already, these unnatural beings come and hunt us down. So it is a really very interesting, especially with the time that we are in right now. These prophecies are very interesting. But this book not only provided that, but it also provided the Nazarene book of Genesis, these earlier stories, biblical stories that oh man, I just love this book. The story of Adam and Eve, and the story of King David, and just different stories that we've heard before, but they have a different spin on them. It's very interesting. Like, for instance, what just came to my mind, the story of Abraham. And when Abraham was approached by essentially Azazel, this fallen one who was pretending to be God, this fallen one said, "Hey, I'm your God. You need to sacrifice your firstborn to me." And Abraham said, "No God would ever command animal sacrifice. Any God that does is actually a demon." And he called it out right straight for what it is. And I'm like, that makes so much more sense, because if you're actually in tune with the truth, in this story, Abraham's also a different character, but the point remains that when you're actually in tune with the creator, you know that it is against his will to go and shed innocent blood, and especially animal or human sacrifice is absolutely against the creator's will. Thou shalt not kill. The exact Hebrew phrase means no killing of any kind whatsoever. And the Megillah is very adamant about, to kill is to leave the path. And so yeah, even their form of martial arts, Zayen, is a non-violent form, and you use it to essentially get out of the situation or protect whatever. It's not something that you're using to actually try to kill, or with this intent of trying to harm someone else. Yay, Kyle. Hey, Kyle, how's it going? Kyle put the link in here for Christspiracy. Thank you. Yum. I love hot tea. Okay. Josh says that Mark flirts with all the ladies. That's funny. What do you think about girlfriend or boyfriend? Well, I think there is a proper time for everything, and a lot of us need to really work on, myself included, need to work on ourselves and make sure that we are the best versions of ourselves possible before we try to get into situations that are not easy. Charlie says my wife has walked away just recently while I was away. Aw, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, everything happens for a reason as well. I am divorced myself, and I know that I am in a better place right now than I would have been if I stayed there. And it wasn't a bad situation or abusive or anything. There's no hard feelings or anything. But even just to be where I am right now, doing my holy work, I needed to not be in that relationship. So yeah, I feel for you though. DVD says that you also got a lot of pushback from the traditional Bible believers. They called you New Age. That New Age phrase is kind of slapped on everything. It seems like that kind of falls outside the category of mainstream Christianity. And there's a lot of healing things that they blindly turn their selves away from because they want to label it New Age. For instance, I have like my whole library here. The healing power of mudras and how our fingers have different elemental connections to them, and doing different patterns of combinations with your fingers can actually bring about different reactions and feelings in the body. So especially like if I am fasting or have a headache or anything like that, there's like different mudras that you can literally use to just sit there for a few minutes and have that, and then it goes away. So for me, I think it's really ignorant to just say it's New Age and kind of push it off. And it's really sad because they cut themselves off from a lot of healing. And yeah, it's all by design again. So Chrispiracy is awesome. Reveals the truth dark forces have tried to hide. Exactly. Mr. Khan says heavy floods are district burner. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that there's a lot of women and children that died in the heavy floods. Oh. Hey, Christy, how's it going? Christy says, I was also in Torah when the spirit told me to stop eating animals. Oh, that's awesome. I fought and struggled for 18 months because the Bible says so. Yeah. Definitely. Oh, cool. You're definitely going to get you a copy of the Megillah. Awesome. It is available at Essene.org, and this beautiful copy is like $100, but there is a cheaper one that is a paperback. I absolutely love this. You can tell by the wear and tear. This little guy goes with me everywhere. David E says, it's funny. Mark started with your shotgun video. I know. I didn't know that he was going to play that. And it's kind of funny because you couldn't see me on the screen, but I was on like their backstage screen. And I was just like, I just turned red and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that they're playing this right now. But actually he didn't inform anybody else that they were going to play it either. So it was it was fun. Kyle says, show all animals compassion and be vegan. There's no excuse or justification for the abuse, torture, and killing of innocent baby animals. Exactly. That is so true. And how much better a place our world would be if we showed compassion to every being, no matter what skin they're in, no matter how big or small. Getting Dr. Seussy in here. But oh wait, doesn't his Dr. Seuss, it's not actually pronounced Seuss. Anyways, Dave D says the Megillah has predicted 9/11, Dolly the sheep, and many other things. So we should heed the warning about the transhuman path we are on. Absolutely. And along that line, the book of Enoch in here, I mean, it's not all doom and gloom either way, because there's always a message of hope, but it shows the civilization that we could have if humanity would embrace the sun, the power of the sun, and having that, power our lives instead of taking from the earth and being so destructive with so many different resources. The beautiful blessed path, the blessed civilization, they knew that water was this manifestation of love, and they treated water respectfully, and they knew that connection was so important. We see today that our water is not treated with love. So many people are drinking water that is completely mistreated and frankly abused in different ways. When bottled water is all abused, people will probably call me crazy for this, but they literally, the bottling plant, the machine, the area that the things are bottled, they say that the water is like screaming. Okay, this just takes all of the life force energy out of the water and leaves it dead. So everybody is drinking this water, and we see that complete lack of love all around us. Obviously, that's only one connection to love that is missing, but it is a really important one. So yeah, there's also a limited portion of the Megillah that is available online for anyone that might want to just dip their toes in and see if it is for them. So definitely encourage that. Mickey says, can we create a pendulum to erase the blowing up of the White House? That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, well, we can always change course, and I understand in the context of the situation, America basically is being taken over by these humanoid robot things, right? And outside countries are going to be like, we need to go in and do something to help stop that, right? So I totally understand how they're going to like react to it, and how they're going to feel when they see all of this stuff happening, and it would lead to that natural reaction of, we got to go do something about this before this really is problematic. So yeah. Cow says Hosea 6:6. Let me see. I actually don't have a Bible in here, ironically. The King James Bible. Oh, good verse, Kyle. For I desire mercy, not sacrifice, an acknowledgement of God rather than burnt offerings. That's from the NIV. The King James says, for I desire mercy and not sacrifice, and the knowledge of God more than burnt offerings. Exactly. Yeah. God does not need our animal sacrifices. He doesn't need us to. God and Goddess are both forgiving parents, and they've already extended that. They understand the situation that we're in, and they love us either way. They forgive us, and they want us to repent of our sins and, come back into the fold and be loved again, right? Because when we're doing things that we know that we're not supposed to be doing, it gets us into these downward spirals and these hell pits of our own making. And they're like great parents. They understand, they saw everything, they still love us, and they want us to just come back to that. They don't need us to go and kill a bunch of animals in order to deserve their forgiveness. David E. says the Megillah reveals the God who demands animal and human sacrifice is actually a servant of Satan, not the real God. Exactly. And from the very beginning, the Megillah shows that the animal sacrifice was not from God. And yeah, it's really beautiful. So I would encourage you to read it again. Josh says Mudras. Yes, maybe I'll change my last name to Mudra. Josh Mudra. Cool. That sounds like a cool name. Mickey says, don't forget to hit that like button, folks. Thank you. I appreciate that. Mr. Khan, I don't really want to get into racial issues here. I think that we should not be so focused on people's skin color and frankly looks in general. Let me just turn this off for a second. Frankly, looks in general, because like we were saying on Strange World last night, looks are a fleeting thing. For me, I'm very into intellectual and just more of the, like, I want to see someone's personality shine through. The looks are going to fade eventually, and it's very shallow. It's not something that you should ever pin your hat on. So yeah. Anyways, there's also different agendas to basically to fuel the race war, right? So there's lots of different agendas going every which way to fuel hatred. So having even men fighting over women and just different things, and it's all just by design in order to lead to the coming problems that they have, right? The race wars of the past, the things that they have in the future. They want us divided and conquered for a reason, so that whatever they have coming for us, we're already toast, right? David D says, when are you going up to Florence? My trip is scheduled for this weekend, so I will keep you posted about that. I'm really excited to get some more Megillahs. As you can see, I don't have enough in this room. Just kidding, but I would love to just have a box of them to be able to give out to people. I would be willing to pay for them as well, whatever. I just need to have the resources because I take mine with me everywhere and I'm constantly like telling people about it. So it would be really nice to be able to actually present them with it if they're interested, obviously. I wouldn't, yeah, this is really precious stuff and probably like not going to be just giving it out to anybody and everybody, but for the people that are really seeking. Even just this past week with the festival that's been going on here, someone was like, "Hey, my name's Birdsong." And I'm like, "No way. In this book, there's someone named Birdsong." And like he had, I might have already told you guys, but he actually had this tattoo on his hand as well. So that was really cool. Another, like, at least 3 or 4 people I got to talk to about this just this weekend alone. So I love it. Love it. Josh says I can stop being silly now. Ha ha ha. No, we like the silliness. Divide and conquer, exactly. Get us all hating each other for any single reason that they can. Christy says that Democrats versus Republicans is a huge weapon they use. Yes. And giving us these political leaders that are set up as heroes. And so we kind of cling to them, right? Everyone wants someone to champion behind, right? Like someone that's rallying the cause. And so they give us these personalities. They give us likable, I don't like any of them, likable personalities on each side so that people will cling to them. And even when they aren't likable, even when they're completely detestable and in a horrible, from what we can see, people will still latch onto it. It's actually crazy, especially like the religious people that cling on to these political heroes and don't see through the oh, I'm a Christian, like they all will tell you that they're Christians, especially on like the right leaning people, the conservative Bible toting, the big hypocrites that are like everyone freedom for all except for all these animals and all the people that we don't like too. It's just yeah, pretending to be that you're this Bible toting Christian while all your everything about your behavior is completely the opposite of the way of Christ. Even in the Bible, Christ is the loving, the Messiah of peace prophecies that he fulfilled did still make it into the Bible somewhat. And so I'm thankful for that, at least. David D says they are ramping up the race war now. Yeah, there's you mentioned before that thing about Sydney someone's jeans, and then I think they came back with a rebuttal, and they were like, "Oh, Sydney's friends have nice jeans too," but they're literally doing all these dumb things that are just like little seeds here and there to make people mad and really, like you're saying, ramp up this war. And yeah. Josh says that they want us to fight each other so that we don't go after them, the true enemy. Exactly. Exactly. It's the Hegelian dialectic and order out of chaos. You're so right. Aw, thank you, Anna. You are quite wise. Thank you. I appreciate that. Matrick said Enoch provides the whole context to the rest of the Bible. And I actually do like the mainstream book of Enoch as well, and the laws of the luminaries that talk about how the sun and moon work, which is really, really fascinating. But I also understand that a lot of those texts, like the book of Jasher, and some of those are written within the context of the Aaronite Torah, and still kind of this angry, jealous, vengeful God of war and sacrifice. So it's really important that we take the truth and leave the rest. Hey, Jacob, how's it going? Left wing, right wing is Hegelian kickery. Yes, definitely. What's your favorite food? Oh, that's an interesting question. It should be grapes, but I don't really know what my favorite food is. I guess it'd probably be curry, yellow curry, mild yellow curry, with some sweetness in it. Really, really good stuff. So there you go. David D says the they always give us controlled opposition puppets, inverted actors covering every issue, controlling humanity through divide and conquer. Exactly. And like you mentioned, they're all inverted as well. They are the inversion of what they portray themselves as, and they're all just putting on a show for distraction, for manipulation, to divide and conquer, to lead us to their ultimate agenda. Kyle says, I'm not sure if you saw it yet, but scientists in Australia created, leather from mushroom mycelium that's stronger than dead animal skin, biodegradable, and free from harmful chemicals. That's awesome. There, that's a really, really great news because a lot of the vegan leather products I have heard are really bad. So having some really great alternatives is necessary because we need to continue to have products. We just need to make sure that they are durable first and foremost. That should be like a standard thing that we should have. Everything is like reusable or recyclable or just something so that it is not filling up the landfill and trashing the earth always. So that's really, really cool. Mushroom leather. Josh says that cause an internal crisis, shit hits the fan, then they present the pre-planned solution. Exactly. Yep. We'll see what their next big show is. There hasn't been anything really since COVID. Well, I guess there are some wars and just natural disaster. They're not natural disasters, fires and different things like that they are doing as well, which all go into it, causing so much devastation, uprooting people, having homeless people, right? Just adding to the problem of need when the government only gives you what you need when it benefits them, when they are keeping that control over us. Jacob says Yeshua was an anti-capitalist enemy of the state who was murdered for being a counterculture. If you have not heard of Christspiracy, I would definitely encourage you to look into that. Christ went in and upset the temple and stood against the animal sacrifice system as well, which was the government and the religious leaders were all in on this, making profits off of the animal sacrifice requirement that was really forced on the people at some point in time and allowed against the will of the true prophets of God. So Mr. Khan says, you read the Bible, tell to the women what's the rights of husband. Well, I don't follow the Bible. I follow the Holy Megillah Bible. But as far as the rights, what's the rights of the husband? I think that the husband and wife should have their own relationship and they should hopefully be growing together. And if there's problems in that relationship, then they should solve those problems so that they are not in an unhappy relationship. Hey, Harmon Walker, how's it going? Sup, boo, says Jacob. David D says yellow curry, yum. Kyle said, I just made chickpea curry last night. Oh, cool. I assume that it's just with chickpeas, but do you do other, like the curry that I normally make is onion and potatoes and broccoli and carrot. And I am getting really hungry now. So yum. Josh says intentional. Wow. Typing too fast. Hee. Okay. I don't know. Oh, I see what you mean. Hello, Julian. How's it going? Julian says Greater Israel Project. Plan tier is post-COVID moves. Okay, interesting. I have heard that name, but I actually don't know off the top of my head. So, cool. Hey, Plain Reality, how's it going? Hi, I saw you on Mark Sargent yesterday. Great interview. The chat was a little sad, though. Once they started talking about veganism, the chat started saying how much they love steak. Aw, very sad. Yeah, it's trying to justify animal abuse by sensory pleasure when, frankly, like there is really awesome vegan steak products out there. I you can get some at the store even, but I've seen people make them with cauliflower and just all sorts of different products. The creativity is through the roof in the vegan cooking department. But yeah, we can't continue to just justify evil based on our sensory pleasure, you know? Plain Reality says, yes, Christspiracy is a great watch. Cool. I'm really excited to also meet another Flat Earth vegan. So thanks for joining. David D says, multiple warnings of a huge earthquake coming to California this year that will sink the entire coastline. Oh my. We have posted before about the map of the United States that was leaked by the US Navy, and how it basically the California coastline was pretty devastated. The shoreline kind of came pretty close to Mount Shasta, which, hey, I wouldn't be upset if there was like some beachfront property around here. Hopefully people get out of the way and heed the warning, but there's also a big body of water through kind of the middle of the United States as well, and then the East Coast was also a lot of it was in water as well. So I think I posted that on my community page quite a while ago. So if I remember after this, I will repost it so that you can see it if you're interested. Mickey said, keep your great work going on it. Oh, thanks. You're kicking butt. Until next time, may all your dreams come true to all. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. May your dreams come true as well. David D says, Mark is followed by a lot of non-vegans. Yes. Most people are coming from the non-vegan background. We were all raised as non-vegans, and it's one of the harder things for people to question, because it's so fundamentally ingrained in your traditions, in your family, and in all of these things that food is fundamentally linked to. And so it can be hard for people to question that. Yeah. Josh says, when did you start playing guitar? Cool. I started playing guitar in ninth grade. So, oh gosh, I don't do math. I graduated in 2011. So, I actually got to start playing basically. I only took a few lessons to learn basic chords, and then I started playing with my school's praise team. I went to a Christian school my entire life, and on Strange Road, I kind of mentioned about like wanting to be a praise and worship leader and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, I started playing piano, I think in kindergarten. My parents made us all. Bless their hearts. I love the piano now, so I'm very grateful, but I hated it at the time. And then like I said, took the guitar up in ninth grade, and I can do a little bit of the drums and maybe mess around with some other things, but I really love music. So Kyle says, at Rainbow Plant Life, I made her chickpea curry recipe. Oh, cool. Sweet. Rainbow Plant Life. Is that here on chickpea curry? Sweet. Found it. Julian says, just tell those people their palate will change. That's true as well. None of the flesh does not even look appealing. People try to post pictures of their meat as like, hey, vegans, look what you're missing. I'm like, that looks like I just see like wrinkly skin. Like that doesn't appeal to me at all in any way, shape, or form. And yeah, it changes your palate, and it changes your mindset as well. So used to seeing animals as this commodity and whatever, now I'm like, I love cows. I've got to hug so many cows. Thank you to David D. I also got to hug I've got to hug like so many different animals, and I love it. So it's really opened up my mind and my heart and my world to the animal kingdom. Harmon Walker says, what is your opinion about the population of nearly 8 billion? I've seen Eric Tabai's video on population. I think he has a valid point. Do you think the numbers are a fear tactic? I definitely do not agree with the numbers. I don't believe anywhere near 8 billion. I think that they keep the population very low. We are even sectioned off into smaller portions of the earth. Like, we're not allowed to travel freely. So yeah, they keep us very contained, and the population kind of, the Georgia Guidestones. And yeah, a fear tactic for sure of, we're going to run out of resources, and space and all of that. Yeah, for sure. I didn't see Eric Dubai's video on that, or what his did he estimate a number or whatever. Julian says, I used to like steaks and Big Macs too, 22 years ago. Yeah, Big Macs, huh? Oh, yeah. I used to love myself a McDonald's burger as well, so I definitely understand that. Mickey says, stop watching MSM and avoid the negative agenda set against us. Stay happy, stay free, and embrace Mother Nature as much as possible. Absolutely. Mr. Khan says, who's your favorite politician? I don't have a favorite politician. I guess maybe I'm my favorite politician because, yeah, I don't follow politics or have any, I don't vote. I don't believe the system is pure. I don't consent to their system ruling over my life. So I don't play their games. Duty says, I'm experimenting more with tofu. Gets firmer when frozen. Oh, cool. You'll have to let us know how that goes. I actually haven't experimented really at all with tofu. I've made very few things out of tofu, which I'm not like necessarily proud of. But yeah, my burgers, for instance, are potatoes, carrots, garlic, onions, leek, and yeah, so I do a lot of stuff with like potato and carrot based and cashew based. So I'm interested to hear what you have to say about tofu. Jacob says, why worry about being vegan and just develop a cocaine addiction so you don't need to eat? Well, that could be one way of trying to avoid a food, but I would not suggest that. There are people though that are trying to be breatharians and go for an extended period of time without consuming food. So yeah, as far as why worrying about being vegan, the most thing that humans do is eat like 3 meals a day. How many snacks in between? That's like our biggest sin in general, is against the animal kingdom based on what we're eating. So it's really important that we stop doing that so that we can change the world around us, and not just for the animals. I'm vegan for the animals, but it is the best for us as well when we're not obviously eating the processed junk food. A plant-based diet with pure foods is the healthiest that you can be, mind, body, and soul. So I definitely would encourage people to look into that. Josh says, that's awesome. I started when I was 9. Oh, cool. Been playing for 31 years now. Wow. Okay. I also went to Christian school and led worship for many years at church slash youth group. Oh, that's so cool. I would really, like I was mentioning, want to start my own church and do my own praise and worship. But a lot of the old songs are, as you know, based on blood sacrifice and being covered in Jesus's blood and all of that kind of stuff that I don't agree with there. So cool. That's really cool. Was even in a Christian rock band for a couple of years. Oh, that's really cool. I have not ever technically been in a band, so that's really cool. David D says, ugh, trolls who post pictures of flesh are so annoying. Yeah, they definitely are. And they think that they think that it's like appealing to us because it is appealing to them, but you're literally like salivating over a piece of dead animal. It's very sad. Josh says, I don't go to church anymore though. Okay. Are you what's your current situation of belief with the Bible and your spiritual walk? Plain Reality says that cows are just big dogs. They are awesome. Yes, yes, they are. I would really love to have a cow sanctuary here and just first of all, how about this? California and the whole state just becomes a paradise, a sanctuary for cows. We owe it to them. If you've ever traveled I-5 down towards the middle of California, they call it Cowschwitz, and you will see the most horrible just CAFOs, mass amount of animals living in this dirt, it's probably not even dirt at that point, but it like no grass. The sun, it smells for miles away. Like it is absolutely horrible. So anyways, change all of that into California and we make it just a paradise, not just for the cows, but for us as well. The cows, I mean, they are the ones that really deserve it. We only kind of deserve it because we're getting better, and we're going to be better to deserve it. But we could just have like the roads lined with some sort of walls so that the animals basically can go everywhere without having to worry about crossing the roads. We don't have to worry about hitting them. Like, I just have a lot of great ideas, and I really love cows. So I'm going to rein myself in and not get too excited about that. But I got a lot of ideas, and I would love to hear your ideas as well, especially if they are about how to make this world a better place for the animals and humans too. I'm a little bit less excited about the human part only because of our current situation. I actually love humans, especially human babies. I love kids so much. They're like just this great light in life, and they're a blank slate. So humans in general, this state that we're in and the shittiness of humanity has been learned behavior and programmed over time, and it doesn't have to be that way. So I do have hope for humanity. I'm really excited to be a part of the awakening experience and getting to essentially determine what that future world looks like, where souls are thriving and humans are better. Yay. David D says, we are being crammed into cities. Most of this world has almost no humans in it. We're not overpopulated. Yeah, if you drive even like around here, just miles and miles of empty space. And they're cramming us into the cities on purpose, right? To cause all sorts of problems, even just like not having your own space and being able to go and put your feet in the grass and just have an area that is yours, right? When you live in the city, it's a concrete jungle and you're like crammed on top of people and stuff. So there's a lot that is just really, really unhealthy for humans, and that's why they do it, right? Christy says, thought of flesh in my mouth makes me nauseous. Exactly. Yes, that's so true. MCon says, what's your opinion about the married to get married? It's mean age. I'm not really sure. What's your opinion? I'm not really sure what you mean by the mean age, but I definitely think that waiting until you're older to get married is a wise decision because we are all still trying to figure out a lot and unlearn things and relearn things, and rushing into a marriage especially is just not a wise decision. So Herman Walker says, yes, Eric took all the major cities and then tried to calculate all the rural areas. If I remembered right, it was no more than 2.5 billion at the most. Oh, wow. That's really interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all if it's like so much lower than what they tell us. Wow. David D says, the vast majority of human sin is dietary in nature. Exactly. Julian says that we don't worry about being vegan. It makes life simpler. That's so true. And yeah, it actually isn't a worry either. But yeah. Oh, MCon says, I think you're angry to me because I ask a lot of questions. I'm not angry. I just didn't understand what your last question meant. So I'm not angry. Plain Reality says, well, it's only 2.5 billion. Everyone, if it's only 2.5 billion, everyone can fit in half of Australia and the rest of the world would be 100% empty. Wow. That's amazing. Yeah, this world, I think there's just like so much that we haven't gotten to explore, and there's so much room for possibilities and expansion. And when humans are really thriving and they're not worrying about surviving and making ends meet and all of that, we're going to see a population expansion. And I'm really, really excited because these are going to be, awakened people having babies and trying to hopefully draw in higher energies so that higher light babies come into this world. Josh says, yeah, the old songs are definitely blood culty. Haha. And you don't even realize that it's a blood cult until you take a step back and you're like, wow, I'm actually praying to be covered in innocent blood. Like now I'm picturing myself as Scary Carrie, just like showing up to God's throne room, like, clumping blood behind, and everyone just like, hey, what's up? And now all the white heavenly palace is stained red. Like you don't think about that though. until you're out of it. Jacob says that food pyramid and 3 meals a day is a psyop to make Americans ingest the slop that is served at public schools and break away from natural fasting. That is so true. Yes, absolutely. And the food pyramid is another interesting topic of discussion because people want to try to say, oh, the powers that be are promoting veganism. It's like, hold on one second. You do realize that they have been promoting non-veganism the whole time, right? So just now all of a sudden they're also doing veganism so that they can control both sides. And now you have a problem with what the government promotes. Why don't you have a problem with what the government promotes when you're eating all of the flesh and the eggs and the cheese and all of that stuff? That they're the ones that told you to do that stuff in the first place. Doesn't make any sense to me. Julian says hall lactose never happened. What is, not really sure what that is actually. Okay, I don't know what that means. So Josh says, I still believe in God and am more open to other ways of believing. The Western churchianity, I'm just completely over. Definitely agree with that for sure. And know that there is a divine. That's really, really obvious. Even before flat earth for me, it's obvious that this was created and not coming into existence by chance. I would be like, you can believe that you came from a monkey, but like I know for sure that I didn't come from a monkey. But really, when you start to study the human body and just like the intricacies and all of these just finer details is just so beautiful and screams intelligent design. So flat earth really aligns with that as well. Jacob says, I guess I'm a hypocrite because I'm overweight, but I can still lead people to a treasure which I may not possess. Hey, and it's a journey, so be gentle on yourself, as I'm taking that advice myself. But sometimes we also have healing and knowledge that we haven't applied yet, and we can still share it with, like you're saying, other people can grab onto it and run. David D says, Americans are programmed to eat, keep filling their bodies with poisons until they get sick and die. Fasting cures every disease, no pills necessary. Yeah, it's always eat, and it's eat when you're happy, eat when you're sad, eat when you're eat in the morning, eat with your dad. Like it's just always eating, right? And it's such an integral part of our society. And I'm a recovering food addict, and I have realized more and more with the events that I plan that I go way overboard with food and that I love to feed people. It's like something that just makes people feel like family, and it's just a loving thing. Food is one of my love languages, and that's part of me that still needs to heal. But I really like that I get to use that in this community to show people all the delicious things that they can still have as a vegan. Like the Thanksgiving dinner we had, all the things that you could well, not all. I don't like yams, so I didn't have yams on the table. Forgive me for that. But a lot of the things that you would expect at a normal Thanksgiving, we had there. When we had an Easter party, we had like a chocolate fountain and a cheese fountain. And so like food. Yeah. It's really important that we all are conscious about what we put in because we eat so much. And I'm talking to myself most of all. Like you said, soy-based products are full of estrogen. Well, there also is a difference between phytoestrogen in plants and estrogen. Mammalian estrogen, like, is in meat because it's coming from dead baby girls. It's in dairy. It's in eggs. You actually have mammalian estrogen in all of those products that are negatively impacting the human body. And, well, not so much for females as males. But soy is not the only product also or plant with phytoestrogens. And so there is some misinformation about all of that as well. Josh says, open to the metaphysical. I've been into crystal and crystal collection. Cool. Since I was in elementary school. I wire wrap crystals as well. Oh, nice. Quartz really piezo creates piezo electricity. Oh, cool. There's a lot of people around here that will set up their little quartz and or crystal wrappings and stuff at the headwaters and sell. So it's pretty cool. I've seen some really, really cool things that people can do. It's an amazing art that I wish, I mean, if I spent more time in it, I would probably be good at it, but I haven't ever really spent too much time. So, anyways, cool. This realm is magnetic, vibrational, energetic realm. So who's to say that crystals don't have an effect on us? Exactly. They definitely do. Everything is vibration, and all of these different tools that our creators gave to us are to help us in various ways. So it's great that you are open to that. And even the people that are clinging to the mainstream Bible, like look at the priests in the Old Testament. They had a breastplate with different types of stones on it. So if stones and crystals are evil, first of all, why did God make them? And second of all, why did the high priest in your Bible, and also high priest, anyways, we won't get into that magic show, but yeah, why is a crystal evil if your priests use them, you know? Mickey said, yes, Australia has heaps of land, but we have a housing shortage. Oh, okay. Interesting. That's something that's going on here as well. The housing shortage, deliberate, right? And there's people that will kind of like a monopoly game, right? Go and buy up houses in different areas, especially Mount Shasta, a really nice place. And then just kind of keep them off the market. And then there's no housing. The homeless hill in Wairika recently was basically bulldozed, not the whole hill. The stuff that was on the hill that the people were living in, right? Their tents, their lives was all piled up, and they were sent on their way. And the powers that be are creating this situation. They have so many people one move away from losing their house, their family, their everything, right? And then they become homeless, and then they get treated like really badly by society because of being homeless. Obviously there's some drug addicts and all that, and if you were in that situation, you might also turn to drugs or be in that as well. So having some compassion is helpful. And it's really sad because when people are cheering for these homeless people to be pushed out and pushed around and all this stuff, like that karma is going to come back for you as well. So just don't do that. Kyle says humans need enough humanity to turn all slaughterhouses into sanctuaries. Oh, that would be so awesome. Slaughterhouses, the farms, all of it, everything, just starting tomorrow, 8 a.m. Well, actually, can we start now? Starting right now, everything just changes. But yeah, would be really nice to just flip a switch and change it all. Mickey says if we lose hope, they win. Love will lead us. Amen to that. Hey, how's it going, Ka Alex? Hopefully you're doing well. I'm actually going to be getting off of here relatively soon. Oh my goodness, you guys are way ahead of me in the chat. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right, I'm going to just skim a little bit because I will be on here forever, which actually is fun. So part of me wouldn't mind. Hey Novadan, how's it going? What do you think about the Aryan Christianity? Interesting. I am not sure that I've heard something specifically of Aryan Christianity, but I am really into Nazarene Christianity. Okay. Thank you all for being here with me. I'm really appreciating this feedback. Oh, okay, Julian. Okay, now I see what you are. Oh, how lactose. Okay, now I understand what you're saying. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some sort of depopulation event at the time, but I definitely do not agree with the official narrative and what we are told about that, and also the fact that we are actively holocausting animals and that's been going on for so long. It's just crazy. Josh says he's been a flat earther since 2015. Oh, cool. How many of you other lovely people woke up in 2015? That's when I woke up as well. Mark Sargent woke me up. So that was, again, really cool to be able to connect on a show last night. Alex says they came and took us and made us in their image and likeness. We were already here. They manipulated our DNA. Yeah, well, the Book of Enoch and others talk about the fallen ones mixing their DNA with humanity, and essentially their children, their hybrid children running our world today, right? They're not able to reproduce naturally with humans because they're not completely the same species as us. They're a hybrid species, and again, that's why they can't naturally reproduce together. So Harmon Walker asked who Josh's favorite content person was back then. That isn't here now. Oh, interesting. Okay. I actually am not really familiar with a lot of the Flat Earth personalities. I woke up to Flat Earth, and basically my awakening journey led me to the Torah and really focusing on the spiritual aspect. I was like, okay, the earth is flat, like moving on. Like, yeah, and I don't mean to like kind of bypass it as something that's meaningless, because it is a really beautiful truth, but it was not, I never got hooked into any personalities and watching people and any of that. So David D says Aryan Christianity. Any race can believe in Nazarene Christianity. Anyone can wake up to the truth. Exactly. The Nazarene Bible talks about the 12 tribes and how they were actually different groups of workers. So like the carpenters, the tribe of songs and poetry, or I don't, that's not the right, songs and words, maybe it might be, the gardeners, the shepherds. So it was 12 different work groups that people could partake in multiple different groups or whatever, but they had their different rules for the way that they would go about doing their job for the community, and especially like the ones that would go out and harvest things. When they wanted to make candles out of beeswax, they found honey hives, or a beehive, I'm sorry, that was abandoned. So they're taking stuff that is not being used. They're not stealing. They're taking logs that are already have fallen down, and really harvesting in nature, or in balance with nature. So it's really beautiful. And the whole point is, though, that it's not about our race. It doesn't matter what color skin you are. It doesn't even matter what species you are. What matters is what we do, our actions, our words, our thoughts, and how in line, if they're in line with God and Goddess, they're going to be uplifting us up the golden ladder of being. And if they're not, they're going to be dragging us down further. And ultimately, anybody can choose to stop on the reverse spin and start to ascend. It's just a matter of choice. And some are stronger at making that choice than others. So, yes. Oh, Nova said, I mean, the preaching of Arius, not Aryan the race. Okay. I clearly have never heard of that then. But I would be interested in hearing. Cool. I will leave that tab up for after here. Mr. Khan says, how many teacups do you drink day, night? I drink a lot of tea. This is, well, technically today, this is only my second cup, but I love tea. Cool. All right. I am, like I said, going to jump off of here. Congratulations for winning at poker night in the casino, whatever you guys were doing. Cool. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Oh, what's happening? My comments like went to the top. Okay, that was weird. Sweet. Mr. Khan says, thanks for nice talking. God bless you and your family. I'm sleeping. Okay, cool. Have a great night. Thanks for joining. David D says, after they cleared out Wairika's homeless hill, all the homeless are driven off and desperate. They don't have any water or restrooms. Yeah, I've seen them walking around town, and like there's places that will deny them access to the bathroom and just treat them as less than human. And that just fuels the problem. And realistically, we can't be expecting humans to be living as like compassionate and loving beings when we're eating the opposite of compassion and love for every meal. So, hey Alexander, how's it going? Saw your sergeant video last night. That was my first. It was 2015 myself. Thanks. Cool. I'm glad that you got to watch it and that you came by to say hello. That was really fun. 11 News asks, are we in purgatory? That is a very interesting question because it can definitely feel like it. I believe that this is a cosmic school, and usually the suffering that we are in is of our own making in various ways. And yeah, a lot of us chose to come here to help uplift the souls that were in here and make this world a better place. So I don't believe that it's purgatory. I think that this place is ultimately what we make it, and I'm here to help make it into a golden age, a garden paradise, and hopefully you are as well, because I can't do it alone. If I could do it alone, I would have already done it by now. I need other people to awaken and latch on to the dream, and for us to be dreaming together of that world where humans and animals are free. We're all just living in peace and harmony with each other. We have all the things that we need. We're not in this survival mode anymore. We're thriving, not surviving. So that is my goal. And I'm hoping that you are aligned with that as well. So yes. Hunter Walker says, Queen on Snow, I'm retired now, depending on state government for my checks. Okay, so I'm part of the system. If it collapses, I lose my house in 2 months. Oh man, I'll look for a place on Mount Shasta. Yeah, I think a lot of people probably will end up in the wilderness, and Mount Shasta definitely has a lot around it. So we'll see what happens. I really hope that you stay safe, because it's really hard that they have so many people in this position, and you can't really like be at peace and like sleep easy knowing that you're like so close to potential problems like that. It's really, really sad. Mickey says the homeless situation is so sad all around the world because it was created on purpose, and everyone needs love, especially those down on luck. Exactly. And especially those people that have already turned to drugs and they're in these situations. Like, I just have a lot of compassion for them. Obviously, I don't want to enable them. I want to help heal them. And I understand their escapist mentality and kind of how they got to where they are. So Plain Reality says, I have to go rest to it was nice to meet you as well. Thank you for joining. Oh, cool. We got another 2015, 2016 or cool. We should have like a 2015 Flat Earth group. Alexander says, you've always graced us with your beautiful energy. Aw, thank you. Growing and maturing while showing us what a true lady can achieve. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I'm definitely trying to grow and be the best version of myself possible. So I appreciate that people are seeing that I'm changing and hopefully are encouraged to do the same. Cool. All right. I am going to get off of here, like I said. But thanks, Josh. It was great getting to know you a little bit tonight. And it was great to get to know you as well. It's like really cool that there are so many like just really awesome people in the Flat Earth community. And I'm glad that I kind of got the opportunity to be exposed to them and now them to me or whatever. Anyways, really excited to connect with Flat Earthers and pre-Flat Earthers, pre-vegans, whatever. It's okay. We're all just going to be a big, loving, happy family. And I just want to help create a better world. And I understand that we need to have peace and unity and compassion and forgiveness and love. And that's the only way that it's going to work. We all need to be having that for each other so that it'll all just work. All of us are extending compassion and grace to the other while all trying to lift each other and ourselves out of this mess. I hope that you have a wonderful day. Well, I guess evening, huh? Hope you have a wonderful evening. I will see you tomorrow for noontime prayer. May God and the goddess bless you.